People like, say, Walter Lippmann and Harold Lasswell and others who explain, this is the left liberals now, who explain that in a democracy, the population, what Lippmann calls the ignorant and meddlesome outsiders, the general population have to be kept from interfering. They can be spectators but not participants, because if they're participants, they might threaten the minority, the opulent, who have to be protected. That's a position that goes right up till the present.
Hey guys, it's Buddhagem, and we're going to continue this discussion about democracy. Hopefully my last video got you to start thinking about this in a little different way. That is, the ruling class are very hostile towards the idea of democracy, and for good reason. Should you share in that view? You might want to ask yourself that question. In this video, I'm going to quote heavily from the Trilateral Commission report that Chomsky mentioned in the last video. It is entitled The Crisis of Democracy, links in the sidebar, and I'd really encourage all of you to read it. There was a real surge in democracy in this country in the 1960s, and it scared the ruling class. As Sam Huntington points out, the basic point is this: the vitality of democracy in the United States in the 1960s produced a substantial increase in governmental activity and a substantial decrease in governmental authority. The impulse of democracy is to make government less powerful and more active, to increase its functions and to decrease its authority. For those of us who consider ourselves anarchists, this is an important point. Democracy makes the government more active and less powerful. Contrary to what many anti-reformists claim, the reforms of the 1960s undermined authority. Huntington goes on. The essence of the democratic surge of the 1960s was a general challenge to existing systems of authority, public and private. In one form or another, this challenge manifested itself in the family, the university, business, public and private associations, politics, the governmental bureaucracy, and the military services. People no longer felt the same compulsion to obey those whom they had previously considered superior to themselves in age, rank, status, expertise, character, or talents. Authority based on hierarchy, expertise, and wealth all obviously ran counter to the democratic and egalitarian temper of the times, and during the 1960s all three came under heavy attack. The commandments of judges and the actions of legislatures were legitimate to the extent that they promoted, as they often did, egalitarian and participatory goals. Civil disobedience, after all, was acclaimed to be morally right in disobeying a law which was morally wrong. Not only was there a decline in the confidence of the public and political leaders, but there was also a marked decline in the confidence of political leaders in themselves. In part, this was a result of what were perceived to be significant policy failures. In addition, and probably more importantly, political leaders also had doubts about the morality of their rule. They too shared in the democratic, participatory, and egalitarian ethos of the times, and hence had questions about the legitimacy of hierarchy, coercion, discipline, secrecy, and deception, all of which are, in some measure, inescapable attributes of the process of government. Again and again, you'll see this fear of democracy is the fear of a small elite who fear that they're going to lose their special privilege, their power in this society. Democracy undermines authority, and as an anarchist, that's something that we should be paying attention to, developing, and nurturing. Democracy undermines authority. I can't stress that enough. And it's repeated again and again in this Trilateral Commission report. It empowers people. It gets people thinking for themselves. We are a more civilized nation because of the democratic surge of the 1960s. It's not always pretty. It's not always perfect. But as Howard Zinn reminds us in the book, You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train, revolutionary change does not come as one cataclysmic moment. Beware of such moments. But as an endless succession of surprises moving zigzag towards a more decent society. We don't have to engage in grand, heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world.